But because the original was made in 1993.
Yeah, I think it was made. Or something. Maybe more recently. I'm not sure. Just a strip of wet.
No, it's not that. I can see you, Laura. Really? That's Ryan. Oh, very true. It's what you see yourself. Oh, I'm trying to film my
Sort of self-conscious.
It's really weird.
Like, if they can see us.
Can I not be as short?
Yeah. Can't see yourself. We're walking to be in short. Yeah, I'm going to walk around this.
There, it's on a blind spot.
Oh.
See my big face. I don't want to just stand in front of the camera. Then I'm avoiding the camera. Like in front of one, I just end up standing there.
Yeah, I think most people have actually separated with clear gaps. Would you be able to see it?
I can see right.
It's mad because I was expecting to see me when I was going past, but I could see somebody else and I was like trying to find them. I was like, where are they? It's really strange.
Like mirrors or something.
Yes.
I quite like this awkward stance.
Any responses then? Apart from... No?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, no, go on.
First of all, it just like really says to me about like voyeuristic, like us being kind of like watching each other, and maybe like, I don't know, just like in a way that we're so kind of bombarded with technology all the time, and we always kind of watch each other on social media, and it kind of like says that to me straight away. I don't know. Yeah, it's really interesting.
Are you recording from the camera?
Maybe I am.
I think it changed it from just being like a way of seeing other people, but then it becomes like you're actually documenting as if you're recording.
I wasn't
Something
going to
that's totally
record it.
different.
And then this morning, I kind of, it crossed my mind, I thought, no, I'll just leave it as a live feed, and then this morning I thought, well, Neil suggested it as documentation, and then it's something that I've got from it that I can pursue further if I want to. If not, I've just got it and that's it. So yeah, it should be recording. By the way.
Some of them are.
Should have a disclaimer on the
Yeah.
door. Training purposes.
I like
Susan's very photogenic. Sorry, carry on. What are you going to say? Sorry. You like...
Oh no, I was gonna say I like the slight disturbances in the signal sometimes, like that.
Yeah, why is that happening?
They're just all time. I don't really know. One of them on the work area. It's just happening.
I like the fact it's all like old and like bulky, and like you can sort of really see everything. And like it's not like you haven't got like 4 Apple Mac. They're all like really neat. It's all.
Would you if you had the budget?
No. The other option would have been, I've got one wireless camera with, that I was thinking about putting those in the corners, but I only have one, and I didn't want to go spend £100 on another 3. And then I thought, well, I've got access to these cameras and then I thought, well, if I put them on tripods, it's really intrusive. They're at like your height, and I thought that was slightly more dramatic.
It's a little bit more fun on the floor. I found that. They were at eye level then
I thought that was because if they were up here, you could see them, and I didn't want you to be able to see them properly. Like none of these are wide so that you can see yourself opposite. They're all slightly disjointed. So I can't really floor.
Yeah, it's interesting, you know, when you're on the bus and sometimes you catch a sight of yourself on the bus and then you think, oh right, I'm being filmed, and then you try and work out where the position is, because then there's a funny view then, the back or then the middle, and you're trying to work out where the camera is and when you're next going to come up. But I think that's always placed high, isn't it? There's a sort of omnipotence about that you're being watched from above, whereas it changes it.
I mean, with CCTV, you almost have like a slight out-of-body experience because you're like looking at a different version of you. You kind of remove yourself, you're outside yourself a little bit.
Yeah, and then of course they've got these, you know, the Google Maps and all that, where you don't even know whether you could be looking out your window or anything. But do you think this is just, I don't know, do people feel this about surveillance or just the fact of where you're positioned or in relation to the camera or someone else seeing you instead of yourself or?
Yeah, I agree with you, Tori, with like watching like social media and you know,
Have you seen the documentary We Live in Public?
The guy that built those things.
Yeah, that's what it really reminds me of. Just kind of like everyone in a confined space, just like watching one another, even though they're right next to each other.
Yeah.
That was kind of in the 90s, so it's like almost back then it kind of predicted what we are like now, which is pretty
yeah, and that episode in Black Mirror as well. Have you
Yeah.
seen it? Oh, you should watch that. Like everybody's just constantly like, do you know the one with the phone? Constantly like filming people with their iPhones.
Oh, it's
Everywhere you go. Yeah.
Is that the teddy bear one?
It was like a prison.
It's the
In the
It's
end.
the one where the girl wakes up and then she's
Every
being
single day.
chased and everybody's filming her rather
Yeah.
than helping her.
Yeah, because it was a prison, wasn't it?
It was
Yeah.
like her punishment. Yeah. Oh, I was thinking of a different episode, you know, where they're set up so your eyes are like cameras.
Oh, that's
You
a
know,
different.
that's like
Yeah.
everything you've ever seen
That
or
was-
experienced
yeah,
is
the seat.
recorded, and then you can rewind and delete
That
moments.
would be amazing. I
Yeah.
think that's awesome.
But then people were ending up obsessing over one look, which you'd think, oh, you know, you might dismiss it, but actually, like, you know, I know it's fictional, but that idea of being able to rewind and just constantly kind of,
What's the same thing?
yeah,
They've
like
like
obsess
created
over
Google
it.
glasses though, haven't they? So you can like
Yeah.
wear the little Google things and you can record like on, and they're like tiny, so you can't even see that you're wearing them. Almost like contact lenses, and you can like record things and stop and play, rewind. So it's kind of already
Yeah.
there, like weirdly creepy.
Future scary.
So it's like online and stuff, so you can't see whereas here. Like if you say I'm desperately like cleaning myself, like trying not get in the line of the camera angle.
But with
Still
your
wanna
choice,
look at, like, I have to say like I don't want to see myself. I want to look around and see where everyone else is.
I'm still interested as to where you appear though. But as I was walking around, I was still kind of trying to work out on which one, not also looking at other people, but also trying to work out where I was going to appear as each time I came round. And you can just see the back of you coming back round.
Yeah, because it's circle as well. It seems a bit like a cult to TV or whatever.
And you knew you'd have us all in this room, didn't you? So it was like a kind of experiment, isn't it, with us all in here as well.
It relates directly to what I've been doing over my studio practice stuff, but it's being able to put it in an environment where it's isolated and I can actually just do it and see what it's like on its own. But it's slightly different to what I'm looking at the moment, which is more to do with like being watched from behind and that awkward sensation. But I've recently been looking at the Panopticon prison model, and so this is more in response to that than what this sensation thing that I'm looking at the moment. But I thought,
What's that?
it's a prison model whereby there's a watchtower in the middle, and then all your cells are around, and so the guard can watch any cell he wants, but the prisoners never know if they are or aren't being watched. And you can't see the person in the watchtower, so there could be no one there, but by default you assume there is. And it's like that kind of idea.
Yeah, I think the television's quite an interesting choice of a way of expressing it as well, because of things like the telescreen in George Orwell's 1984. It's an obvious connotation. But yeah, it's these things called telescreens, which in my head, obviously because I know what a television is, I always, when I read it, pictured them as being televisions, even though I don't think they were really supposed to
They're
be.
more like flat screen
Yeah.
TVs, isn't it?
It's just that association that.
But this doesn't have that thing of, does it, the future? It has like something about, you know, like the kind of
But 1984 was
monitor.
more about 1948, wasn't it? So
This
it
has
was-
got like, this is like, you know, kind of the monitor that would be in some kind of, I don't know, grubby cab office or something, you know. It's not like what you'd have in a kind of... But in this piece, was that something you wanted to look at, the thing from being the behind one?
No, I decided that I would just sit on that for a bit because I wasn't quite ready to explore it, whereas this was an idea I knew I could like do now and be reasonably content with, whereas that, because there were two things going on in my mind, I wanted to separate them and not try and merge them together just for the sake of doing it now. So I thought if I isolate them and execute.
It's very interesting, that thing, just on a very I mean, obviously this has got lots of things, you know, to do with power and unease and things like that, and, you know, work like, you know, Douglas Gordon's work or Tanya Bruguera's work, or sort of deals with those things. But it's just that really simplistic, strange thing of not seeing the back of you and everyone else seeing that, and you never, it's like, you know, that chasing your tail thing, you never see that really. And that unease of someone walking. Well, I just had this very funny moment this morning. I was rushing here, and there's certain, like, you know, when someone walks behind you, there's certain sort of ways someone can walk behind you that obviously makes you feel uncomfortable and not uncomfortable. And it's like if you were to think, okay, what makes me feel uncomfortable when someone walks? I mean, there's the obvious, if someone was to, you know, breathe on your neck or touch you or something. But I was trying to, basically I felt uncomfortable for some reason, someone behind me. So I just went to the bus stop. I thought I'll let this person go past me. And then it was Rob Pepperell, and I thought, oh my god! And then I thought, no, I've done it really obviously that I didn't want him walking behind me. And so then I just thought, oh, this was, yeah, he was listening to something. So I was thinking, what should I say then? Should I just carry on walking behind him then and not saying anything? So then I said, Rob, like, and he turned, and then he's like, oh, I didn't recognise you from behind. So it was, and then it was this kind of like really awkward moment where I was like, yeah, and I thought you were making me feel really uneasy, and like I didn't. And then I was, you know, thinking about it. How was he walking? You know, that made me feel so uneasy. And he was obviously thinking. And then I was thinking, what did he think? What did he think I looked like from behind, or what's going on? You know, was my skirt higher than I thought, or whatever. But it's interesting, isn't it? So I was really thinking about the way I knew he had his head down and he was walking really fast. And he was quite close behind me, so I was thinking what that was, you know. But it's interesting, isn't it? Well, I thought I was
yes, the fear thing.
But it was just something about it that just wasn't fear. It just made me feel really uncomfortable.
I think
There was something
sometimes
about
you
he
just
was walking.
get overly conscious. Like those are the types of things that really happen more often than you realise. So you don't focus on them. But I guess it's that moment where you're conscious of the person
If it hadn't
behind
been
you.
him, then that made me really conscious, because it was like, you know, if he'd been like with an axe or something, I thought, okay, yes, I was right. But the fact that it was him, I thought, oh, that's very strange then.
I think
What was
like
I-
this here is like we're all so exposed to being filmed, but it's very abstract to us. We kind of it's invisible, so it's abstracted in our minds. But this is immediate. It's you know that, like I know that if I was to go out here, these people can see me, but I can't see me. So then I'm very self-conscious. Like, what do I look like? You know, have I got food in my beard? Have I got, you know.
I'm finding it almost impossible to say anything because I was in the middle of a TV screen, you know, and I just need to, even though I know that everyone can see me in the space, but just know that I'm on the screen saying something. It's kind of, I've become such an object, even though I'm an object here. And then further, it just almost makes me, my subjectivity kind of, I can't, it's like, it's very strange, isn't
It
it?
makes you think like what she's going to use it for.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not very nice, is
Yeah,
it?
conversation.
Sorry?
Is it permanent documentation rather than conversation?
Yeah, and everyone does that now,
Yes,
don't they?
yes. It's you can't be someone living now, can you? In this
It's recorded and
this
all that.
current exchange, it's almost like you're thinking
That's
of the
what we've seen
context and
Yeah, and where and how it'll be used
freaks
and,
you out.
and how you're, whether people feel generous, you know, how people are going to use that, if they're going to be sensitive to you or not.
Yeah.
This student, when I was teaching at chapter, they,
Can't we all rotate a bit?
yeah,
It's not
they
fair.
recorded, they, at the end of the night, they said, oh, I've recorded everything from this session today, and I'm going to put it on the internet as a radio.
You can have that bit. That's fine.
This is a nice place to be.
So that's different because we didn't know, I didn't know I was being recorded.
Yeah.
Whereas this we do know. So as Emma's saying, well, you've walked into the room, you've said it. We could have just been completely silent for Emma's feedback and said we don't want to say anything on camera. We don't. You're making us feel comfortable.
There's definitely an ethical thing
Well,
going
the
on, isn't there?
dictaphones for the feedback, this is just a visual thing.
Mm. Well, we can say we don't want it to be used. Anything we've said, can't we? Maybe you should ask us first.
Should sign some forms. Data Protection Act.
Do you have it?
Yeah, it's right there. That's just for the sake of recording it. For,
Yeah, that's
like,
yeah.
yeah,
It's
like
just
I
weird
would
that we
say
don't know
them.
that it's there.
I assumed that everyone was using
We did suggest it.
Yeah, I mean it's not a problem. I'm just saying like we don't know it's there or being recorded.
That's kind of the whole idea though, isn't it, really?
Would you ever do it with like more cameras?
I wanted to do 6, but it's not practical, especially when it's like access to them is almost restricted to certain days of the week. And I've only got this many monitors because that's how many we've got.
We are managing though as a piece of work to get to be in the gaps, aren't we?
Yeah.
Which is maybe it makes it different. It doesn't mean that it doesn't say the same thing, but you're not imposing us to be in a room where we're always going to be on screen.
Yeah.
You are giving us the freedom where we can dodge it.
Yeah.
And it's not like something's happening when we don't know when, you know, it's not like we don't know what's going to happen when. We know this is here, nothing else is going to come in, or, you know, we can gauge it and then act accordingly, can't we?
Yeah.
Be interesting to see how people would react if it wasn't on TV screens, but say it was like projected, so it's really, it's there, so if it was onto all 4 walls, so as you come past you can really see yourself, and like that sort of
That's
strange.
something I want to play with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then that goes back to the being seen from
Yeah.
behind or
And then you'll always feel awkward coming round as you to try and get out of it, but it's there, so even if I've got a hand or a shoulder on there, but I'm still on it and I'm still on the wall, and it's kind of that.
It does have that hole in the arms thing, doesn't it? Does as well. Yeah, well that would be, yeah.
It's funny how children are so different, aren't they, with this kind of setup. They're going, you know, just trying to get into the shot and trying to. But I suppose as you reach puberty, you just become aware of your objectness, don't you, and your skin that you're walking around in, and so that sort of consciousness of self-consciousness makes you more afeared of cameras. probably would be monopolised by children if you had it in a gallery, wouldn't it? Gallery.
It's interesting talking about us all being watched and recorded, but from where I am, I can't see anybody. So like, no, I know, but like I don't know whether there's people on that screen. It's not Kristen, it's just interesting that where I am, I can only see those two screens, but we're talking about us all being watched and recorded, but nobody's there.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see if if you didn't have the TV screens, and just the cameras. It'd be interesting if maybe people wouldn't be so scared to come in the camera, how their behaviour would change. If you couldn't see yourself or see that other people are right there on the screen, you're just but you kind of know that you're still being recorded. It's just that the kind of idea of seeing it, and it's oh okay, makes it more real, doesn't it?
I think with the screen there's slightly more ambiguity as to whether it is recording or not, just because it could be a live feed. If it was just the camera you would know, because there'd be no point really otherwise. Either that or there would be an external monitor somewhere.
I think it would be quite interesting to have the TV screens maybe outside the room or something, or maybe if there were two rooms and then you could see someone in another room. I saw there was an exhibition where it was in a room, and then you go in and there's an eyepiece and you're looking into the other gallery. So there's all these rooms, and you're looking into the other room, and it's only one person in that room, so you're basically spying on that person. But I was in the previous room, and I had no idea someone was kind of spying on me before, so it felt really awkward, because when you're looking at artwork on your own, you feel different to, you might look really close, or you might do something, it reminds me of that. And I love that piece because it was the most basic one, like the heat, but it was good, it's clever.
And I wonder if we'd be more comfortable if there was a delay as well, so we couldn't actually have the live feedback.
To me, I don't know, it's kind of a bit different too. But when I was looking at the cameras, I thought they were facing inwards because of the screens don't match up with the camera. So I thought they were different angles.
So have you experimented with setting up surveillance cameras in different parts of the art college?
No.
I mean, is it illegal?
I don't know.
You'd have to get permission from people.
You probably would. I spoke to James before, and he said that there was someone doing it. He was recording it across uni, either last year or the year before, who didn't ask for permission, and it was all fine. But I don't know how I felt about it.
I know when Tiff Oben was doing her MA at University of Glamorgan, she got into trouble with the university because she had in the exhibition space she had cameras you couldn't see. Then in a different part of it there's an office where there's a whole load of television screens.
Am I more in trouble?
Yeah, with the university, because you have to get permission from people.
Yeah, there is an ethics permission that you have to get.
Her work is kind of getting into trouble, and I think it adds to it. I think it makes her work really interesting, and because she's such a nice person as well, it's kind of like an alter ego that she's always getting into trouble. But I don't know. I think it's good that she I'm not saying get into trouble, but I think it might add to it. Maybe it could, I don't know, artists getting arrested and all this.
I know you put it on tape, but you're saying that you're suggesting that she can
cut it out.
And we've said nothing.
Yeah, we haven't. No, don't do that. You don't do that. I think the fact that it's underground adds to this kind of den of observation from up in the real world. We're kind of down here.
For some reason it's got a weird sort of like hostage video style, you know, sort of from the camera in this like strange box room, like you didn't know where you were.
Need a newspaper in today's day on.
The other thing I was thinking about doing is letting everyone in, have one camera and monitor, and then locking the door behind. Ethically, probably not a good idea.
Someone did do that, didn't they? In the 60s, and everyone smashed their way out. Oh, I can't remember. Yeah, they locked them and they give the audience in a gallery. I can't remember who it was now.
That's got a huge padlock on the outside, hasn't it?
Neil's over there right now.
Get more locked.
You did think about doing that, locking us in.
Very briefly, but then I thought it's probably just not a feasible idea.
See what would happen to everyone after like a year or something. We're like crazy and
We result
eat
in
each other.
cannibalism. Stream it online.
We'll be here for your degree show. Just bring us back. As a tour guide.
Would you say, is there a dystopian aspect to your work then, would you say?
Kind of, I guess. Not like... Yes, but not really like a big... It's not significant and it's not conscious, but it does happen. Like the sense of like unease and awkwardness and that kind of... That's my primary focus, really.
I would read 1984, definitely.
I've been meaning to, but I just keep forgetting.
So are you going to watch the footage of people and see what they do?
Which
So
one?
you're going to observe what they do when they're awkward? Is it just the setup?
It's the like the feeling of it, putting people in that
Oh, okay.
situation that is more interesting.
Yeah, because I was like shocked, like when I came in, I was like, oh no. And everyone, like, yeah, I'm sure if you watch it back, you'll hear everyone go like, because then everyone got off. It's quite fun, because you're sort of like a bit like a puppeteer, like sort of controlling everyone's like emotions and stuff.
Yeah, I really like how it's like moving around, nobody knows if it's recording. Feels
I
good.
like how everyone's dodging the camera as well. Nobody's stood smack bang in the middle. Everyone's kind of like, oh, how bit of me in, but not one.
You still allow yourself to have a bit of you in, which is kind of interesting.
So you enjoy making it people feel... Do people feel uncomfortable? Slightly uncomfortable?
Initially, but afterwards, you know. It is initially when you walk in, like how you perceive yourself and how your projected image and how it's recorded and documented. It's going to be two different things.
Is it because you're near the door?
So easy to escape. But no, after a while, it's just fun. There's cameras everywhere. You're always going to be documented. You're always going to be seen. We live in a CCTV society. Everything's recorded.
Yeah, but you don't see yourself. You know they're there, but like out of sight, out of mind.
Again, it's just past that point.
Yeah, if you just play this game with yourself, just
Yeah,
any
it's just
second
a
saying,
sense of
can I see a
comfort.
camera? And you should look in a public space. You can usually see a camera, can't you, wherever you are.
Be comfortable within your own sense of self as well, and you don't care if you're documented, you don't care if people are able to see you, or if it's being recorded, or is he seen where you can't see yourself, but other people can.
So what are you enjoying the most about it? That the work succeeds in doing what you want?
Yeah,
Or
I
are you
think so.
sadistic?
I am both. Definitely sadistic.
Okay.
I like that everybody like came in and there was an expression on people's face. They weren't just like, right. There was, you know, it's like they were thinking. I like that. I think that's why I think it's been some success.
So somehow controlling people's...
Yeah, that sounds really sinister, doesn't it?
Well,
When you put it like that, but
It's not even so much controlling people, just creating an emotion within people.
yeah, that's a nice
I think it's just, it's
Well, I don't know
making
if
it
it is
an immediate idea, I guess. Like we can see that other people can see us, but we can't see us. and it's in our face. It's, you know, the equipment is all there, whereas you don't usually see all of the recording equipment and all of the monitors. Usually there's somebody else that has access to the monitors. I think it's that immediacy of the voyeurism and the surveillance that make it work for me. Because I still feel really uncomfortable because I know there's a bit of me in this camera right now. And I'm really aware of it.
But you could step over and you wouldn't be an actor.
Yeah.
So why haven't you?
But then you've been my personal body scan.
Yeah, that's true. So
It's
I'm
more
like,
scary too.
Relax, just put your hands up and good.
It's funny how you don't want it to sound like you're being sinister now.
Yeah.
Is it maybe it's because, I mean, you know the Tanya Bruguera piece where she moved the crowds with the riot horses? So she had the big riot horses, the police on the horses in Tate Modern, and she did it at the National Gallery, the Museum of Wales. And people just move, you know, so it's not, obviously you don't want a big massive horse trotting on you, so it's not like you go, oh, this is an artwork, fuck it. You know, you do have the horses coming at you. But it was really all about power and how people allow themselves to be controlled, or they just part of what they do and they just move, you know. And that antagonism, people were moving, but they didn't really necessarily want to be moving. They kind of, you know, or they look uncertain or actually scared of the horse. So this way they were sort of subservient to power automatically, but she wasn't the one with the horse, you know. So she was making a piece of work about power, and where people felt uncomfortable. But and it was filmed, but she didn't actually, you know, wasn't doing it to the people. So it was more about a comment. Whereas because you're there and involved in it, it's like you're saying yes. I want to create unease. It's not like saying I want to create joy and harmony and unity. You're saying I want to create discomfort, but it's difficult because you're there.
Yeah.
So it's like, is it because you're commenting on something else, or because you actually you get pleasure in?
It's not.
No, but it's okay to ask, isn't it?
Yeah,
Everyone's like,
yeah.
no, not me.
are you a pervert?
Well,
That wasn't the question.
I don't like. I like to set things up and let them run. That's kind of how it works. So yeah, I want to create unease, but I'm not going to stand in front of you and directly cause it. Like that's what this is for. You know, I set it up. You walk into the room.
So we create the unease ourselves.
Yeah, it's your response. I'm not
I'm just
forcing
like
you
that,
to
so.
respond a certain way. Well, I kind of am. I'm setting it up so that you are led to respond a certain way.
So are you directing us into that?
Kind of, but you can not engage with it. I mean, Ryan's like, oh, I don't care now, I don't give a fuck, I'm over it. Whereas other people may not be. It's,
Would you feel the same if you didn't know us? Like you'd still feel the same if you set up that situation? I guess it might change because maybe not self-conscious, but you might make that kind of that point of saying, you know, I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. I don't want, have sinister intentions. But maybe that's manipulated because you know us.
maybe.
And then we would think, oh, Emma, she's a bit of a freak. Not like that, but, you know, just be like, I don't know whether because of the group of people in here that maybe that changes it. Whereas if you set it up kind of independently in a gallery space, I don't know whether your intentions would still be the same, or it probably would be, but
Original intentions, but maybe my feeling of it would change as it was happening. I don't know, because it hasn't happened.
yeah, no, I'm not looking for like a definite answer, it's just interesting. Isn't it?
Are you not anthropologists?
What?
Anthropologists, do you like the study of people? Do you?
Not, well, not more than I don't think anyone else does. I mean, we're all people, so we're interested in what people are. Yeah.
I mean, do you think it would work with different groups of people? I mean, I don't know whether.
behaviour.
Yes, it's strange. I mean, it's just, I don't know the ratio of men to women in here, but it seems to be that the women avoided it more than the men, maybe, I don't know, being in the screen. There's each screen had a male. For example, I don't know, that's interesting. I wonder whether, I don't know, if we're all Americans, would we give a shit so much? I don't know. Anyway, it's just sort of these kind of things. How do we as animals, how do we react in different situations? And I wonder, will you sort of note what happens, and then could you put this kind of experiment in a different group of people and see what, I don't know, are there sort of things, experiments that you want to try out on different groups of people to see what their behaviour is, like people, like a scientific experiment like that. Is that kind of part of it? Is that a way to go? I mean, do you do
It's
that?
never been part of my intention though, but it's interesting how you say about the fire. It's something to think about for sure, because it is interesting.
I think everyone's interested in when artists intervene with a group of people's behaviour, or even with an individual's behaviour, and it always generates some sort of interest around it, and there's a dialogue that follows from it.
You looked at Karsten Holler's work, haven't you?
Some of it, I haven't looked at.
Yeah. Karsten Holler is interesting because I first saw his some of his early video work when I was at college, and there was these I saw it in an ICA exhibition. I don't know how long ago, it was a long time ago. Anyhow, but it was all these videos that he'd set up like traps for children. There weren't any children in the video. It would just be like there'd be a jellyfish planted under sand with like one of those wind, things so people would come and pick it up, and then there'd be like, poisonous jellyfish. Or there was one with like a play pen upside down, and then something in the middle. So once the child went in, got the sweet, it would fall. And then there was some poisonous mushrooms on a swing. So there was all these things where there weren't any children in it, but it was all set up. There was a sort of unease, sadistic. And he's done loads of like amazing videos and work. And then he's that huge slide. You remember at Tate Modern? Did anyone go on that slide?
Well, they're really big.
Yeah, and they actually were quite painful. It was quite painful. So you had all these people going down the slide. They were massive. And everyone, they were going down these slides, kids, adults. But there was something about the speed and everything where it was kind of uncomfortable. So it was fun, but it was. There's always this kind of why we setting up a situation, and there's a kind of slight playfulness, but there's also a sort of cynicism, a sinister. I wouldn't say cynical. I don't know, maybe edge about it. That we're sort of we react in a certain way, and then we're thinking why. It's quite interesting, this kind of psychological state it creates. Yeah. So what next then?
Projectors and the back of the earth.
Well, that's to make your small wireless camera to the back end, TV in front of you, so you're watching what's behind you, going forward.
Or is it thinking about like a headgear?
Yeah.
So you could,
So you can get glasses like that, it's like mirrors.
yeah.
So you can,
There's an artist in a book that
Many
Paul-
artists and books.
that pulls in. Oh, and it's got this. I'll find it and write it for you. And it's got like a headgear, and it's like really cool. And it's got a mirror, and they put it on people and walk down the park. And,
Oh yeah.
I can't think what his name is, but Paul's in the book, and then he's like a few pages on. I'll find it. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's like headgear. It's interesting.
It's funny, yes, about the sense of knowing someone's behind you. And like just that being the sense. Like you do really know, don't you? Even if someone has
it's just that quarter step. And
It's just like something little about it, little subtle.
Like that feeling. That thing.
So you know it is a sense. Like it's.
I had to change
Just
my
everything.
studio space because of that. because I had my desk up against the wall, so I was looking at my wall. But then that feeling of someone could just walk past and they'd just be behind me, even though a lot of the time it wasn't there, so I pushed it forward so I could face the other way.
Yeah.
It made me feel uncomfortable. Couldn't relax.
That's why I moved.
Yeah.
Last year. It's like you're sitting in the middle of a little island, constantly surrounded by that sensation.
Well, we are all animals, aren't we?
I had we all sort of, I suppose we're in this kind of, still in the wild west of the internet and mobile phones and things. It's all quite new, but we're pretty aware of how there's no privacy at all. Is there your phone can easily be hacked and I think it's kind of pretty much common knowledge now, and that idea of no privacy is quite an interesting one.
Everything's monitored for the good of the state.
There's also a level of comfort in that, though.
I don't say it that way at all.
I work in an island in St David's,
Yeah.
and over the summer I got stalked by a guy,
Yeah.
and there was a lot of comfort in the fact that I knew that the guards, who became my friends, were watching me from 3 sets of cameras, making sure I was okay. And this nutter was wandering around. But I don't like the idea of being watched all the time, obviously, nobody does. But there's also that element of safety. Like when any guy as well, I suppose, when you're walking home in the middle of the night, if that road's dark, that road's light, but that road's got cameras, you're probably going to go for the camera one, just in case.
Kind of safe, but it's like that means they can find the person after
Exactly.
they killed you. It's like good for Crime Stoppers, but it's not actually. It's like everyone has an arm's length then, isn't it? It's like, oh well, we're all being watched and we can find them later. It's not really like, oh, we're all actually all gonna come up with some community plan to make us all feel more connected and really look out for each other. It's like, oh no, when that person down the street's been killed, I know they'll probably find the person and then they won't kill me because it's on camera. It's very different, isn't it? It's like everything's delayed, or, it's not prevention, it's cure, isn't it? Oh, so that's depressing, isn't it? It's like it's all rotten. Your future and...
It might be a challenge to find privacy somehow, make work about privacy.
Well, I think it is a challenge, isn't it?
It's interesting what you say about privacy and how we're kind of not in control of that, because I think a lot of the time we kind of give away our privacy, especially now we're kind of openly putting ourselves out there and letting, even though we know someone else might own that information, we still do it. And it's kind of that's just what we're used to, and that's in our culture. That's kind of really interesting.
Yeah, like all those photos people upload, it says where you are at that moment and everything. What street you can track it, what street you're on,
It's
everything.
probably impossible at this point to remove your online presence in any.
Well, yeah.
You're always going to be on there.
It's very difficult.
Where do we see? Birth certificate onwards.
What's that?
Bring the birth certificate, even before that, there's always records of it right before. When you're first, what do you call it?
They own all the information, don't they?
Yeah.
If you say Facebook, everything you put on there, they own it, and you can buy it back off them. But all the photos you take, even if you delete your profile, they still have the rights to that information. You've given them that right.
And if you Google yourself, all your Facebook pictures come up. That's really great.
How often do you Google yourself?
Do you Google yourself?
Everybody Google themselves.
Who's Google?
I'm joking.
It's weird what you find, what's on there online about yourself. It's quite disturbing. Like your house, your address. I Googled myself once, it said where I lived and who I lived with and who I lived with before that and the address.
Census forms?
Yeah, the one that you have to write to 192, like a physical letter. You can't do it by email. It takes like a month to say, can you take my details offline? You have to actually go through a long process to get yourself removed. You know.
Why not email?
Well, because it's too easy, you see. You have to go through this long process, you know.
I was talking the other day about how like recording things and just different, like how we used to use the phone book, and some people I live with I'm 23 now, and some people I live with 19, 20, and they've never at no point did they ever use the phone book to call a mate and find something like that. It's quite strange.
Yeah, like address books. I don't know if no one else. Do you have an address
When
book?
I had a little pop-up one and it was like A to Z, and you press the letter and it popped up with all the contacts within that one. Very strange. Quite really creepy.
Creepy.
Yeah, something about she's got all this like when you come in, just like into the, I don't know, she's got a phone book still.
Yeah.
And she's got this little address book and like a landline and stuff, and it's.
You find that strange?
Yeah.
But for a mobile.
Yeah.
It's weird how that's like creepy now,
Yeah.
just because that's
yeah,
something like, I don't know, the way that our like technology's changed so
Yeah.
much in such a small amount of time.
Yeah.
That's like considered like a weird thing when actually
Address
it's not that long ago.
Yeah.
You were saying that was weird.
Yeah.
To have a real things.
Yeah, I know that's what I can imagine. No one's got address books. I mean, I've got an address. I've got one in my bag.
So that's creepy, that having real
It's
things.
in the setup that it is for me, because I'm very connected to like social media and my phone, and someone being able to contact me at any point during the day, literally, and she's got a mobile phone, but it's like it's in a drawer and it's in case of emergencies and things like that. It's like, well, an emergency, surely you'd need it on you the whole time, and like, oh, it's an emergency, not like, oh, where is it? Charge it. It's quite strange for me. I like the immediacy. I like a lot of people are like, oh, I don't like this, surveillance and all constantly being there, but like, it's a huge part of like me, social media. I like everyone to know where I am and what I'm doing and this, and having a presence like that, because I don't like the idea of just disappearing into the background.
Right.
Do you remember a time when you had to go home to make a phone call though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go to a phone, and that has just completely disappeared now. You can be contacted or contact someone anywhere, as long as there's signal.
I was thinking like the symbol for a phone, an iPhone is a telephone, but like all kids who are born now know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they don't. I drew that shape of the
Like
handset,
the receiver, yeah.
and then the triangular box, the dial, and my daughter, with the numbers. That's the kind of phone we used to have when I was a kid. And she said, "What's that?" And I thought, "Oh yeah, there's no. That's completely unrecognisable."
I saw something the other day. There was a woman working in the photography part of Tesco's, and she had a wireless landline. It was like sort of with the receiver and the whole thing, but she was just walking around with it. And I was like, why have you gone out of your way to
Were you like, you're not cool?
I was just like, yeah. I was
like,
so edgy. Like, can you imagine walking around with like a wireless landline? Like a typewriter.
Get attachment just to go in there, my friends use it.
Yeah. I've seen that as well. Typewriters, there's a company now which takes old typewriters and they develop them so you can put your iPad in and you can type on a typewriter as if it's. Yeah, sounds like something you'd like James there. Really? Yeah. Yeah. So like, it just comes up. Awesome.
I just imagine you circling this woman with in the shop with the landline.
It's just, I don't really understand. Then I was like, she wouldn't be using a mobile at work though, but I just didn't understand why. It was strange.
There we are. Well, that's made us feel completely ancient.
Yes.
It's amazing how quickly things are moving on.
It is bizarre. Like what will be in 10 years. Bizarre. Okay. Well, thanks for today.
Thanks.
Anything else? Any comments or final?